I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, and this is another Patreon request for Sean. Thank you so much. For anyone who wants to request pretty much any other type of videos or reviews or topics, lists, reactions, pretty much any type of stuff, you could request it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now this is for the film On Golden Pond, which granted is not the typical movie I watch and review, but like I said, could be pretty much anything, and that's no problem. And On Golden Pond was an Oscar nominee for the year it came out. I believe, I want to say Chariots of Fire won, but other films nominated would be like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think this film called Reds with Warren Beatty. Now, On Golden Pond, it stars Henry Fonda, Katharine Hepburn, Jane Fonda, Dabney Coleman's in it for a little bit, and I would say at the end of the day I didn't mind the film. I don't see it's a film I'll watch again, but I didn't mind it. When it started off, I'm like, I don't know about this because of the purpose of the story. Henry Fonda, he plays a big curmudgeon. Him and his wife, played by Katharine Hepburn, they go to their cottage on a lake, which is called Golden Pond. Henry Fonda's character is a guy that seems obsessed with death. He's always bringing it up. Katharine Hepburn's trying to, hey, look at the loons, look at the ducks, look at the... He's like, blah, blah, blah. He's always a crabby motherfucker. I've seen movies called Grumpy Old Men that were not as grumpy as this fucking character is. One thing leads to another. Their kid, Jane Fonda, grown up, comes there with her new boyfriend, played by Dabney Coleman, and his son. And there's tensions that arise because Henry Fonda is not the most relatable person. One thing leads to another. The two, Jane Fonda and Dabney Coleman, want some alone time, so they leave the son, Dabney Coleman's son, I think Billy, with the older couple. In which case, Henry Fonda and the kids start to bond with each other, especially when they're out fishing. It was around that time where the movie was kind of winning me over, because to begin, like I said at the beginning, of course it makes sense. Henry Fonda's purposely being this. There's a reason why he's being such a curmudgeon. It's because there's something affecting his mind. He's got memory loss. There's a part where he accidentally sets a piece of the fucking house on fire while trying to start a fireplace. with that said, I do think Henry Fonda did a good job acting-wise. It was just hard for me to warm up to the character, but then on the flip side, that was the point. That was the point, is that it's going to be hard. They even made it a point in the dialogue to showcase when Katharine Hepburn is talking to the younger kid, Billy. It's just, yeah, you just gotta remember he's just doing his best. He's trying to do his best. And Henry Fonda's character does have some nice bits of humor sprinkled throughout the entire flick. Even when, near the beginning with him and Katharine Hepburn, they see this boat coming, and they go buzz off, and they both give the middle finger. And he's like, don't do that. And she's like, why not? You did it. Or, I'm trying to think, what was the... Oh, Dabney Coleman asks, so how was it turning 80? Twice as bad as turning 40. Or, earlier, after that, the kids asking, but just him and Dabney Coleman are going to go out, are there bears and stuff out there? And Henry Fonda says something to the effect of, sure, there's black bears, there's grizzlies. Hell, one came here last month and ate an old lesbian. Not something I would have expected. Katharine Hepburn. Like I said, Henry Fonda, I think he does a good job for the role that he is told to play. Katharine Hepburn, I don't mind, but I hate to say it, when I saw her performance, all I'm seeing are the many parodies or impressions people have done of Katharine Hepburn. When she goes, yeah, I'm a knight in shining armor. I just picture like Jim Carrey or someone else doing an impression of her with that type of voice. And that's not Katharine Hepburn's fault, but it's just when you see something that seems almost imitated, parodied enough, and then you watch it's hard for me to differentiate between the two. And the movie, for the most part, is pretty simple. It's nothing too big or grandiose. Like I said, a chunk of the film is the kids left with the Henry Fonda, Katharine Hepburn. The kid wasn't annoying, at least there's that. The kid likes to say bullshit a lot, and they even mention in dialogue, wow, you like to say that word a lot, do you? You like to say bullshit a lot. Yeah, I do. But he wasn't irritating. And again, the movie was warming. I was warming up to it when it got to those two bonding with each other and trying to understand the kids' lingo. Like, what do you do when you're not in school? Cruise for chicks? Suck face? Is I beg your pardon? You know, kiss. Oh, okay. So it kind of, I mean, you gotta understand, Henry Fonda's character is playing 80 years old, and this other, the kid is, what, 13 or so? Give or take. And the two of them bond over fishing and trying to find this big fish named Walter. And you know, someone said that if you took Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn out, would the film have garnered such a universal praise with the critics? Because when you look at the plot, this is the type of plot that you probably have seen quite a few other times. Like I said, very simple. Then Jane Fonda, she comes back. She tells about how in the past her and her father, Henry Fonda's character, they haven't gotten along well. And Katharine Hepburn like slaps her. In a way, I guess slaps her out of it. And I don't know, it just seemed as if the Jane Fonda, Henry Fonda, their culmination and their healing, I don't know, it seemed like it went by a bit too quick. Maybe it was just me. It's like, just thinking there would be a bit more to it. But maybe they thought this would be... I don't know. I didn't make the film. I don't know what their thought process was. But yeah, perhaps if Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn weren't in this and it was just two random people, maybe it would not have gotten the bit critical praise. But with that said, they're two, an actor and actress. They've had such an illustrious career by that point. And sadly, this was the swan song. I mean, Katharine Hepburn would be alive, I want to say, till 2003? But nothing really that substantial she did after this. The sadder thing is, with Henry Fonda, he did the film, came out in 1981. In 1982, when the Oscars are there for the films in 1981, in March, he won. Henry Fonda won the Oscar. And then 5 months later, in August, he passes away. So it's one of those things like, wow, 5 months. Like, knowing that and watching it, it gave it a bit more of a impact. Because you are watching an actor's last role, and the good chunk of the movie is about him. He hates that he's getting older because he'll say lines like, I don't want crowds of people watching me turn older. About the birthday about his birthday. And he's a grumpy puss. But then you see this sort of, I don't want to say hunger for life, but the bonding with the kid makes him ease up a little bit on that. But it's one of those things that's weird that 5 months after the Oscar win, that's where he passes away. But sometimes that's how it goes. And this is a spoiler alert, so starting now, spoilers. I'm gladly surprised they did not do the whole, Henry Fonda dies at the end, so that we could create more of an emotional payoff. You'd think it's going that way, but he gets, Katharine Hepburn gives him nitroglycerin, I believe, which then helps his heart, and then they go off and they watch the loons and the pond before they have to head back to their actual home. And that to me was a nicer, sweeter ending. And in retrospect, again, just more sad that not long after he passed away. So I wonder if part of his performance was that real mentality about getting older. That real mentality of being angry that you're so old and you're forgetting stuff. And, well, maybe not for Henry Fonda himself to forget and stuff, but again, the trials and tribulations that come with that. And that's where you can relate at least a little bit more as to why Henry Fonda's character has such a attitude about stuff. Now again, I wouldn't say they're issues, but yeah, it's not my kind of movie that I usually go towards too. I'm pausing because I'm thinking, like, what is it about this film? I didn't mind it, but, I didn't love it 10 out of 10 because I don't know if times, I almost want to say it seems a bit little too quaint or too, I don't want to say low key, but when I was saying that him and Jane Fonda seem like they're going to have this come to Jesus moment, you don't really get that. Or when the kid is bonding with Henry Fonda and the kid asks, so are you afraid of dying? And Henry Fonda's character doesn't really give an answer. And maybe the thinking is that, well, that would make it, if he gave this big speech in the middle. I'm not saying he needs a big speech in the middle, but like a few more instances of verbally showcasing that crack in the armor to either his daughter or the kid or whatever. And like I said, with Katharine Hepburn, on one hand, she does a good job. On the flip side, I keep hearing just like Jim Carrey, someone doing that. I don't know who all did her impersonation. That you are my knights in shining armor. With that said, this is a pretty decent film about a guy who is trying to accept his role. He is like, he doesn't want to accept it. He's fighting against it. That's why he's so grumpy. But by the end, he's lessened at least a little bit and formed a decent bond with the kid. I just wish if there was like some bits of paragraphs or some bits of dialogue that Henry Fonda's character maybe have a bit more with the kid. Yeah, maybe they thought they'd be too out of character. But on the flip side, it would showcase even more the change of heart of Henry Fonda's character. But man, maybe they'd be labeled too cliche or too after-school special type or something of that sort. I don't know. But on Golden Pond, Jane Fonda, she didn't make as much of an impression on me with this film. Like, she wasn't bad or anything. But I think because there are portions where she's out of the film for a long, long time. So she just didn't feel as... She was vital, but she didn't feel as vital to the story as maybe was truly intended. But I mean, I guess she still does fine for what she had to do. And at the very end of the day, it's a nice enough send-off for two accomplished actors, actresses of Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn. Their last sort of chance at glory, and they received it with the Oscar wins. Now, of course, with Oscars, we always know it's political, so who knows how that goes. But yeah, not a bad film at all. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later.